and minds of our young people to say what is cool. Like, is it cool to know what an IRA is before I know what an AR is?
Right.
Like, is it cool? Like, is it cool to really have the necessities of being a successful and knowledgeable young person, or is it not?
So let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Really quickly. So there was a small bubble of time.
Yeah.
It was 80s and 90s, right?
Yep.
Where there was a lot of money to be made.
Absolutely.
Creating an image, right?
Yep.
For
Yep.
newer young Americans.
Absolutely.
And what happened is that actually locked America's potential.
Yeah.
It locked and pushed it away.
Yes, sir.
If you really kind of look at a lot of the different issues that we have going on,
Yeah.
there's a lot of potential. It doesn't matter what race,
Yeah.
right, what gender, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of potential that we've locked away because we've created one image that's acceptable.
Yeah, man, yeah.
Degenerate.
We have
Elevated degeneracy as what's acceptable.
Yeah.
And we've locked away all the things that you actually need to have a successful economy, education system, justice within the law system, right? Like everyone, you can look at every single component of our society.
Absolutely.
And we have pushed away the things that work, and we've elevated degeneracy and attention over all those things.
Man, yeah.
When we really wake up and understand, the things that we need to do, and we unlock that door, that's when a lot of these issues start to solve themselves.
Man, yes,
they
indeed.
really and truly do.
Absolutely.
We have, even with our, you hear all the relationship podcasts, and this one secret to all that. It's locked away.
It is.
Right? We got to give up, the individualism and get back to more of a community type feel.
Man, absolutely, man. I love that, man. I would like to kind of segue into something real fast, and I real fast. I hope I'm not catching you off guard with this. But I would like to know from, just as a professional in this arena, right? I'm not a professional. I kind of do this with my heart and do this with, what I believe about our young people. But I believe it's important to provide a professional aspect to this. And professionally, what do you believe are some solutions for our young people to become mentally and emotionally healthy? Because one of the things you said, man, that is so key, and I really hope the listeners out here hear this. There's no key ingredient that is necessary that's going to cover everything, right? So I know you heard me mention, being cool coming from a two-parent household. Well, coming from a two-parent household doesn't solve everything,
right?
Coming from a single-parent home doesn't mean that you're any less of value than the student who comes from a two-parent household. But because, and the reality is that all of us come from something. And even when we think about a farmer, the key ingredient that a farmer has for everything that they're growing is they have some dirt.
Yes.
There's dirt involved in everything for a farmer to successfully grow something. And so that analogy, meaning that for all of us to be successful, we're going to go through some dirt. Mm-hmm. We're going to have to go through experiences and life experiences for us to really shape and mold us for who we're going to be. But I believe that the rain is necessary.
Yes.
The watering is necessary, and that is the nurturing that takes place. And so from a professional standpoint, as parents, as people who are in the community, mentors, coaches, teachers, all these people that have an opportunity to nurture our young people, what do you believe are some of the things that we need to be sure that we're doing collectively in the moments that we have with young people, to be sure that they are becoming who they need to be from a mental and emotional standpoint?
Right. There'll never be a perfect society.
Yeah.
Right. We'll never be in a place of perfection.
Right.
Okay. At the basis of it all, love.
Oh man, yeah.
Right. Understanding where it comes from, why it is what it's supposed to be.
Yes, sir.
Respecting, the past through, people's lives who we've been placed in.
Yeah.
Understanding the most valuable gift that we've all been given is life.
Man, yes, sir.
Not time, not money, not anything else anybody can say, right?
Yep.
And understanding the miracle that it takes for us to even be here.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes, sir.
When we start to have a holistic view, of things. And we understand, the reason why we're placed in these spaces, whether you're a pastor, a coach, a teacher, a mentor, somebody that just cares.
Yeah.
Right? That gift was placed inside of you for a reason.
Yes, indeed.
Right? having an understanding of what love does for people and how it unifies people and how it really kind of just takes away, certain pressures and certain, our young folks call it crashing out, right? And they say they have a commitment to this because it's their way of expressing themselves emotionally.
Yep.
But it's highly dangerous. Right? They also talk about being on demon time, right? Think about some of these things they're talking about, right? It's wrapped in death and destruction.
Yep.
They're not being fed love.
Man.
Right? So I listen to them. I don't push young folks away.
Yeah.
Because they have their own world that they exist in.
Absolutely.
And we can be aloof if we want. Right? There's a old proverb, I want to make sure I get it right. The boy that doesn't feel the warmth of the village will surely burn it down just to feel a level of warmth.
My Lord. Man.
Do with that as you please, right? But it's so very important for us to understand that, there's a lot of learning and healing that we have as adults when we reach back down.
Absolutely.
Right? You're a father, I'm a father. We get to watch ourselves grow up again.
Man.
And so even when we're in our divine masculinity and our, sometimes we're frustrated and agitated, we got all these things piling up on us. We may snap on our sons or snap, right? But we get to kind of go back and say, oh, let me do this a little bit differently. Let me have these conversations with my young son. Let me open up the space for him to be able to emote and express himself so that when he gets 25 and 30 years old, he's in his own relationships. He's not shutting down. He's not falling into a state of depression.
Absolutely.
Right? He's not feeling anxious about what someone is going to say or someone's going to leave him or someone's going to, reject him or abandon him, right? We are healing publicly. In front of our children, in front of other adults, right? Because once you start having these conversations out loud, it starts to infect other people. Oh, well, you know what? Guess what? I've kind of been going through some things too. Oh, well, me too. Right? And
Absolutely.
so that is really the that's
love.
what we really want to give it. Love, man.
Love, bro.
Love.
That's huge.
At the root of it all. It has to be.
That's huge, man.
It has to be there.
That's something that can be casted so wide, and I think we forget about that simple ingredient.
It's very simple.
Is love. Love is compassion. It's being patient. It's something that you just hit me with something, man. As all of the things that I named, being a coach, being a teacher, being somebody who is a neighbor to a young person, being a parent. Being somebody that's walking through the grocery store and seeing a young man or a young woman, behaving a certain way and loving them enough to hold them accountable in love and not demeaning them in that moment. It even takes me back to a moment where I was at a restaurant. I was by myself, and I saw a group of students coming in. They must have been coming in right after school. They were coming into the restaurant, they were eating, a couple of them had hoods on, and so I found myself even like, oh man, hold on, and I had to check myself. I was like, hold on, let me not do that to them, because they just coming in to eat, coming in to socialize, right? And they a couple of them went to order some food, the rest of them just kind of sat down, and I started to think like, man, a lot of people may view this particular situation in a negative light. Somebody might clutch their purse. Somebody might, get a little nervous. You know what I mean? And so I took it as a moment to really just observe. Just observe what they were doing. And I saw a couple of them go to the fountain to get something to drink, and they were taking some of the little small sample cups and filling it up to get something to drink, right? And I saw one of the young men. He got it. He drunk his little cup. And then he kind of poured a little bit out. I don't know if he mistakenly dropped it on the ground. And I said to myself, do I ignore this moment or do I use it as a moment to hold him accountable? I don't know this young man, right? And I don't know how he's going to respond to me. But I said, you know what? If I don't hold him accountable, what is the next moment going to look like for him? Not in the moment of spilling something to drink, but just carelessly being in somewhere and being reckless with his behavior.